The illusion of effort. They told him that money came from hard work. That success was built with sweat, sacrifice, and sleepless nights. So he obeyed. He worked harder than anyone he knew. He chased, he begged, he fought for what he thought he deserved. But every time he reached for abundance, it slipped away like smoke through his fingers. There were moments he thought the universe was against him, moments when he stared at his bank account and felt the silence of failure echo louder than any sound. One night, alone in his small apartment, he whispered a question that would change everything. Why do some people attract wealth effortlessly, while others drown trying to find it? That night, something strange happened. A feeling, like electricity, filled the room, and in the stillness, a voice inside him whispered back, "Because money is not earned, it is allowed." He didn't understand. How could something so physical, numbers, bills, transactions, be allowed? The next day, he began to notice things, signs, patterns, moments that felt like the universe was trying to speak. A stranger smiled at him and said, "Money is energy, you know." A video appeared on his feed about vibration and frequency. A book fell from a shelf in a small bookstore. Its title read, "The Hidden Code of Abundance." It was as if the world around him was rearranging itself to reveal a secret it had hidden all along. He opened the book, and the first line stopped his breath. You do not attract money by chasing it. You attract money by becoming the frequency that holds it. He closed his eyes, and for the first time, he felt it, a subtle, magnetic field around his body, pulsing with invisible power. Something ancient within him had awakened. The illusion of effort began to crumble. The shadows within. He thought the awakening would bring instant wealth. He thought the moment he understood that money was energy, his life would change overnight. But nothing happened. Days passed. Bills kept arriving. And the same cold silence returned to his apartment. Why? He asked the universe again. I know the truth now. So why do I still feel poor? The answer came not as words, but as memories. He remembered his father, sitting at the kitchen table, saying, "Money doesn't grow on trees." He remembered his mother, counting coins before paying the bills, whispering, "We can't afford this." He remembered teachers, bosses, friends, all repeating the same unconscious prayer of lack. There's never enough. And suddenly he saw it. His entire life had been built on invisible threads of scarcity. He wasn't fighting the world. He was fighting his own programming. Every belief, every emotion, every hidden thought was a frequency broadcasting poverty. He realized something that shook his core. The universe never denied me money. I denied it myself. That night, he couldn't sleep. It was as if the shadows of his past were standing around his bed, whispering doubts. You don't deserve abundance. You're not like them. You'll never be rich. But there was another voice, soft, deep, eternal, the same one that spoke to him before. Your beliefs are the locks. Your awareness is the key. He sat up, breathing heavily. In his mind's eye, he saw the memories, not as moments, but as vibrations, each one pulsing with emotion, each one radiating a frequency that repelled wealth from his life. He realized that manifestation wasn't about thinking positive thoughts. It was about reprogramming the signal. Because every time he said, "I don't have enough," the universe simply replied, "Okay." Every doubt was a command. Every fear was a vibration, sending energy away. He had been affirming scarcity for years, not through words, but through feeling. So he decided to face it, to stand before every hidden belief and bring it into the light. He took a notebook and began to write every sentence he had ever heard about money, page after page. The words spilled out like poison. Money changes people. Rich people are greedy. Having too much is selfish. Money is evil. He stared at the list, trembling. Then he whispered, "This is not my truth." As he spoke those words, the air in the room shifted. A warmth filled his chest. It wasn't comfort. It was release. He could almost feel the vibration changing. like static noise clearing from a radio signal. He didn't know it yet, but that night marked the beginning of his true manifestation. Because the moment you confront your shadows, the light finds a way in. The frequency of wealth, for the first time in his life, he didn't wake up thinking about what he lacked. He woke up listening. There was a hum in the air, faint, electric, alive. It wasn't the sound of the city or the ticking clock. It was deeper, almost like the heartbeat of reality itself. He remembered the voice. Your beliefs are the locks. Your awareness is the key. So that morning, he sat in silence. He closed his eyes and imagined himself surrounded by light, not ordinary light, but golden energy pulsing with abundance. He whispered to himself, money flows to me easily, because I am the frequency that calls it. At first, it felt false, mechanical, like he was pretending to believe. But then something shifted. He felt warmth moving through his chest, spreading to his arms, his hands, his fingertips. He realized that belief wasn't a thought. It was a feeling, and that feeling had a vibration. So he focused on that warmth until it filled his entire being. And then, suddenly, his mind began to show him images, not fantasies, but frequencies, a timeline where he was already abundant, a version of himself laughing, giving, receiving freely. He could feel the emotions of that future version, as if they were happening now. In that moment, something inside him clicked. The distance between who he was and who he wanted to be collapsed. He understood what the ancient masters meant when they said, you are not creating, you are tuning. He was tuning into the station of wealth, and the universe was simply responding to his signal. Later that day, the magic began to show itself. He walked past a coffee shop and found a flyer on the door. Freelance opportunity, remote project, well paid. He smiled, but this time it wasn't surprise. It was recognition. The abundance was never missing. He had just been deaf to its frequency. As the days passed, small synchronicities started to multiply. A friend returned money he'd forgotten about. An unexpected refund appeared in his email. A stranger offered him help for free. Each moment was proof. The frequency was real. But here was the deeper secret. It wasn't about the money itself. It was about the state of being that allowed it to flow. He noticed that when he felt desperate, the flow stopped. When he felt gratitude, the current returned stronger. So he made a decision, a sacred commitment to himself. From this day forward, I will no longer chase money. I will become a vibration that magnetizes it. He began to act as if he already had everything he desired, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. He stopped saying, I can't afford this, and started asking, what energy would the abundant me radiate right now? He walked differently. He breathed differently. He even looked at the world differently, as if every tree, every sound, every breath was made of the same substance as wealth. He understood now. Money was not separate from nature. It was not paper, not numbers, not luck. It was consciousness. And consciousness responds to emotion. The more he aligned with gratitude, the more reality rearranged itself around him. He wasn't chasing results anymore. He was orchestrating resonance. And in that resonance, life began to mirror back his inner state, a world built not by force, but by frequency. He had finally tuned in, and the universe had answered. The manifestor's path. He used to believe manifestation was about asking. Now, he knew it was about becoming. The man who once chased money had turned into the one money couldn't resist. But he understood something even greater. Abundance was never meant to be owned. It was meant to flow through. The more he held on, the less he had. The more he gave, the more life gave back. Because money is not the prize. Money is the mirror. It reflects who you are being in this very moment. He realized that the universe had never cared about his words, his affirmations, his rituals. It had always responded to one thing, his state of being. And so, every morning, he began a new ritual. He didn't sit to beg for wealth. He sat to remember who he was. an extension of the infinite mind that created galaxies. He breathed deeply, filling his body with gratitude. Not gratitude for what he hoped to have, but for the simple miracle of existence. And in that vibration, ideas began to appear, not random thoughts, but clear instructions. Call this person. Start that project. Share your gift. He began to act immediately, not out of fear or strategy, but from intuition, the natural intelligence of abundance itself. Each inspired action created a ripple. Each ripple attracted another opportunity, and the flow became unstoppable. He discovered that manifestation wasn't magic, it was alignment. When his thoughts, emotions, and actions moved in the same direction, reality bent around his intention. People called it coincidence. He called it coherence. And with time, money stopped being the goal. It became a companion, a friend that came when needed and left when its purpose was fulfilled. He no longer worried about how or when. He simply asked himself one question each day. Am I vibrating as the version of me that already is what I desire? If the answer was yes, he felt peace. If it was no, he closed his eyes and tuned in again. He finally understood. Manifestation wasn't about attracting things. It was about remembering your power to create them. Because abundance is not outside of you. It's a natural rhythm of who you are when fear dissolves. He looked around his apartment, the same place where he once felt small, and smiled. It wasn't the room that had changed. It was the energy within it. The hum of reality was louder now, a deep, golden resonance that whispered truth. You are not waiting for abundance. Abundance is waiting for you. And with that knowing, he stepped into the world, not to chase, not to hope, but to embody. Every breath, every step, every heartbeat became an affirmation of wealth. Because in the end, manifestation is not a technique. It's a remembrance, a return to the vibration of infinite possibility. He smiled, feeling the pulse of the universe move through his veins like light. And for the first time, he didn't feel separate from anything. He was the abundance he once sought.